Well, today marks International Mother Language Day. This day aims to encourage linguistic diversity and awareness of cultural traditions around the world. Unisa is hosting a roundtable discussion under the theme, My Language, My Heritage. Well, this is to promote children's literature in South African indigenous languages. Well, one of the organizers of this dialogue is political analyst Dr. Somadoda Fikeni, who's joining us now via Skype. Dr. Fikeni, good morning. Thank you very much for your time. In your perspective, the importance of preserving and promoting indigenous language in South Africa and the region cannot be really overemphasized nowadays when the world is such a globalized place and people more and more are beginning to understand the importance of using mother tongues.
Certainly what has happened is that since our transition to democracy, we've seen our indigenous languages further eroding, despite our constitution encouraging or even instructing that all these languages, 11 plus languages, should be official as well. And not only that, globalization with it has brought in the most aggressive form, monolingualism, where people believe that speaking English is the only thing. And by so doing, many other languages are dying throughout the world. And when a language dies, it's a heritage reservoir. When a language dies, it also removes people from being cultural and linguistic citizens in any given democracy or commercial world.
Yeah, and of course we know that the United Nations has declared 2019 as the International Year of Indigenous Languages, precisely to promote, preserve and revitalize indigenous languages around the globe.
Certainly, that is why this particular dialogue or roundtable is more important this year, because it's not only the Mother Language Day, but also it is the year when the United Nations saw it fit that throughout the world we should be promoting these indigenous languages, revive them and bring them into the mainstream. And not only reviving them for instructions when somebody is looking for direction to a restaurant or for tourism, but also for them to be used as a way of making the speakers of those languages meaningfully participating in the current democratic discourse in the commercial world, and making them to be academic languages and research languages as well.
Now, I mean, besides, we know that through language, people preserve their community's history. What would other benefits be, in your view, for us in South Africa and in the Southern African region, particularly, to really drive the increased use of mother languages?
The use of mother languages doesn't only make people meaningful citizens who participate fully, but also there are studies which have shown that the indigenous languages, when used, make people perform better in their cognitive development skills, which have become more important now in this era of fourth industrial revolution. And some of the learners fail not because they do not grasp the issues, but because of the language or the medium being used for instruction. And not only that, as I said earlier on, the whole heritage is preserved through a language, and when a language is not there, then the heritage will suffer, and there's an economic dimension to it. If the speakers of that language begin to write in it, begin to use it, they can publish, they can do all other things, they can develop apps in the internet world, and that has economic spin-offs as well.
Now, this roundtable discussion is taking place today, and Unisa, together, of course, in partnership with UNESCO, that's the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and the Puku Children's Literature Foundation will be doing this thing. Is this it, or are there other initiatives that will be rolling out over the next year, especially this year, the International Year of Indigenous Languages?
Unisa has just entered into partnership with Puku Children Literature Foundation, and they have an extensive experience in developing and translating children literature. On the other side, Unisa has taken a position of developing indigenous languages into that level of academic interaction. So we are hoping that this will be a kick-off to reflect on how to preserve, promote, and encourage the use of indigenous languages, but also a networking space to make sure that this is not a one-off event, but rather a catalyst for many, many other events. Remember that even the president has been encouraging the reading and writing amongst children. And we can combine all those efforts to make sure that we play our part in that particular process. But this is only the beginning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Somadoda Fikeni. They're talking to us via Skype about today, which is the International Day of Mother Language, and how